Welcome.
Welcome, everybody.
So happy everyone's here. We take it over. Turn it to you, Luminessa. This is Share Baby, and thank you for bringing us all together.
Welcome to everybody who's here. My name is Luminessa Enjara, and we are the Priestesses of Ascension. We are actually a part of the Priestesses of Ascension, who are a group that have been meeting for a little over 2 years now. There's sometimes between 10 and 20 of us who interact and come together once a month. And primarily we are here to share messages of the Divine Feminine and what the role is currently in our life today. We are going through so much change and transformation. It can be exciting, but it can also be, for some, possibly a little fearful or scary. It can also be something of the unknown, not quite knowing what we're doing. And the Divine Feminine has a very, very important role to play at this time, because it's an energy that has been being called forth for many, many years, actually since Venus, actually back in 2011, and then 2012, there's been a more of an urgency of bringing forward what we call the Divine Feminine. And I also like to say it's the new Divine Feminine, because some of the feminine that we have known about has been corrupted by the culture that we live in. So we're bringing through new messages of what this means for women and men. It's not just for women, but today we're addressing it for women as well, and possibly specifically addressing women who can use this energy to support their own life path. And as a Priestesses of Ascension, we dedicate ourselves to bringing forward a new paradigm of living in the world for all of us, and what we call the fifth dimension, or 5D, which is really just unification and living in a world where all of us feel connection with each other, where we love each other, accept each other, and build a world so all of us have whatever we want or need and are able to express who we really are. And I would like to offer and invite Aimée, and we will introduce everybody in just a few moments. But Aimée is a wonderful priestess who I adore and love, and she's an extremely powerful woman. And I invite her to offer a meditation opening for us all. So if you'd like to join us, feel free to follow along. Go ahead, Aimée.
Thank you, Luminessa. So I invite you to sit comfortably with your knees and feet apart, your feet flat on the floor, with your palms face down on your thighs, and gently close your eyes. And we're going to take a series of 3 breaths together. The first is just to describe the breath to you. It's in through the nose, and then it's an exhale that is twice as long as the inhale through an open and relaxed jaw. So it sounds like this. And on that exhale, I invite you to just come in for a landing. As Luminessa said, there's so much chaotic energy in the world right now. This is a sacred time to share with us all. And we invite you to be fully present by coming in even deeper after each breath. The next breath, just bring your awareness even deeper into your physical body. So let's begin. And again. And on this third breath, coming even deeper into your own sacred space of your own physical body. Take a breath. And in this sacred space that we have co-created, I invite you to call in your own guides, teachers, and angels to join you as you listen to this presentation, and to invite you to see what resonates with you, because what resonates with you is your truth and you will know it. And so opening to receiving a message that seems to have your name on it as we take one final breath together. And are ready to begin.
Thank you. So I would like to introduce our first speaker, which happens to be Aimée. So Aimée Lyndon-Adams shares a purpose with 20 ascended master guides whose wisdom and healing energy she channels through her hands, her words. She's also the co-founder of What Truly Matters, Living Life Consciously. And she is a priestess, a seasoned speaker, author, teacher, and facilitator. Aimée is one of these women that I have had the pleasure of getting to know these last several months, and I am honored that she's a part of our Priestess Circle. Aimée is going to share with us the question we're talking about today again: what is the role, or what does the role of the divine feminine play? And so each of us are going to talk for a few moments, about 5 minutes each, and then we're going to have an open conversation and discussion. We probably will also have some room for questions if there are some. Go ahead, Aimée.
Thank you so much. So I thought, since I'm the first speaker today, I thought I would build on some of the comments that Luminessa shared, just to kind of set the stage for a deepening conversation. This is indeed a time on earth that many of us have been preparing lifetimes for. This is the time where the focus finally shifts to we, not me, where we all live in the present moment, no longer dragging the past into the present and recreating our future in the same old ways. This is the time when humanity's consciousness rises out of oppression of minorities, subordination of the feminine, hoarding of the wealth, and into reverence for all beings, not only human beings, but also the animals, the birds, the fish, the reptiles, and the insects that share this beautiful planet with us. This is the ascension journey, the path from third dimensional reality, which we would describe as duality, through the fourth dimensional bridge into the fifth dimension, which is all about oneness. Ascension simply means raising your vibrational frequency until all your cells are filled with light, which means that in order to ascend, we must release all the negative, dense, old, low frequency energy of outdated beliefs, old wounding, and programming. And it is the new divine feminine that is leading us into this new age. The time has come for the divine feminine to take her seat alongside the divine masculine in equal partnership and sacred union. Right now, we're in an unprecedented process of transformation and growth. It might seem to some of you that the chaos you're now experiencing has been created outside of yourself. The virus, the politics, the economy, the lockdown, all of the ways the world seems to conspire against you from living the life you once lived. But in truth, none of this has been created outside of you. You have created this as a soul and as a soul collective, because you know we must change. The lockdown, or the sheltering grace, as I prefer to call it, has provided all of us with a reset opportunity, an opportunity to evaluate how you're living your life, how you're spending your money, a chance to see if you're exhausted, enslaved to your work, enslaved to money and in consumerism, a chance to see if what or who you say is important is reflected in your actions, values, and words. A momentous chance to choose again. Perhaps it's time to choose a simpler life that's richer in what truly matters. Whether you're in a female or in a male body this lifetime, many of you have become alienated from the feminine within yourself, from childhood programming, cultural conditioning, and ancestral wounding. These shut down parts that include the feelings, sovereignty over our own bodies, and sexual practice that deepens our connection with spirit. These need to be aroused, engaged with, and embraced. It's not enough to know that it's happening. Read about it and study about it. Of course, you might need to learn some new practices, but the main point here is that as each of us do our work to reclaim, to honor, and bring our divine feminine essence into full expression, we will, as the Dalai Lama said, change the world. Because both he and Archbishop Desmond Tutu predicted, it is the Western woman who will change the world. And it's happening right here, right now.
Mm. Let's take a breath in with that. That was very powerful and heartfelt. And thank you so much. What a beautiful message. Beautiful, beautiful message.
Thank you so
much. Take a moment to let's breathe that in, all the way in through our feet and up through our hearts and down, down, down into the earth again. And so with that, I have the honor and the privilege to introduce our next priestess, Christy Michaels. Christy is someone that I have known for many, many years. She's here in the Bay Area. And Christy has been a way shower of the Divine Feminine for many, many years, well over 20 or 30 years. She is an amazing minister, an ordained priestess, and has offered programs and rituals. In fact, the Mary Magdalene Moonrise Easter service, which I have been a part of for many years, she has been the coordinator and founder of. That's just one of the things that she's offered for us here. So Christy is also the embodiment of love. That's how I see her. She's always such a heartfelt woman and shares with such love and compassion. She's also literally a priestess of the Magdalene lineage and a teacher of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And also has been a student of the Course in Miracles and a teacher of what is now called the Course of Love. I find that Christy is a woman that has so much to offer and share to us today about the Divine Feminine and its role. And so with my great pleasure, here's Christy.
Thank you so much. Okay, there we go. Welcome. Blessings to all of you. As I have been on this journey, and on 10/10/10, I became ordained as a priestess of Mary Magdalene. And my whole world got broken open and rocked out and transformed, and downloads started happening to me, and transformations started happening to me, and visions started coming to me that, you know, suddenly I had received this vision of the Magdalene Easter service, of telling the story of Easter through her eyes. And the next thing I know, we're before 200 people with 42 priestesses, and I'm leading this sacred ceremony as if this was something that I had always done all my life. Actually, it was something I had done in lifetimes. For what I've come to discover is the path of the priestess has been suppressed. And it was shut down because the empowered, embodied woman who is completely sovereign and is divine, and she knows who she is, and she's connected with perfect right alignment to the truth of her being. This woman does not allow the babies to be starving. And we have 17,000 children a day dying of starvation, still to this day. And in the sovereign world, and we're 51% of the population. And so with 51% of the population, there's no woman that's okay with this. And there are many men who are not okay with this, but where's our voice? So what happened was when the priestess world was cut off and suppressed and pushed away, and then when we tried to assert ourselves, witch burning happened. The way that we survived is that you can't really suppress us. For we are one with the infinite. We are one with the all. And because of this oneness and this connection to the divine, from the other side, beyond the veil, information was informing us about who we were when we had forgotten. And we were being given visions of how to return this love. And then we started to join and gather. And this is why it's so critical and so essential for those women who resonate with this archetype of the sovereign priestess, as Amanda Elohim would say, that they would then gather together, because it is through the gathering and the infusion of this love that a field gets created. And in this field of love, we become our spacious selves. And as in the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, she says, do you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear? So having the eyes to see and the ears to hear has to do with visioning the truth and accepting the reality that you are one with God. And that being in this oneness, being in this wholeness, that we inform the world of what the world is that we want to be. We walk forth heaven on earth. We walk forth in peace and harmony. We walk forth being a way shower. And Luminessa mentioned about the work of the Course of Love. I facilitate the teaching of the Course of Love and the facilitating of the book study on the discussion on the Course of Love. And the Course of Love is a revolutionary path that's opening up to us. It never was allowed to be because the consciousness wasn't there to receive it. And so now the consciousness has come in, and it's a channeling of what Jesus is saying. And Jesus is saying, you need to understand the reason why I was able to become the Christ, while I was able to step into being the Christos, was because my mother had the consciousness to inform me. And it was her consciousness. And we need to go back and look at what my mother did and understand that it's my mother's consciousness that informed me as a little boy. She was the one that was holding presence to me and informing me how to grow into my Christ self. So you are speaking of his mother was one of the most powerful holy women. And what we've lost, not only have we lost the priestess path from the suppression that went on for centuries, it's through this suppression, but women have been dumbed down, they have been closed, their hearts, they become afraid to speak from the witch burnings and everything which impacted so many women. So for women to rise up, to claim their sovereign self, to be in the truth of the integrity of they are divine and they can create a world living in love. We join together. Blessed be. Thank you so much for Luminessa for doing this and allowing our voice and our message to be broadcast. So blessed be. Thank you so much.
And so let us again take a deep breath in and breathe this into our hearts and down our bodies and into the earth. Let us receive this beautiful transmission of the Divine Feminine. Thank you so much, Christy. That was wonderful. And so I would love to introduce our wonderful next goddess priestess, someone who I find personally just a dear love for me. Dr. Mellissa Sophia Joy, and she is a joy. If you ever go to her website, and I want to ask that everyone here who speaks, feel free to put your information on after below. But Dr. Mellissa Sophia Joy is a joy. That picture of you is you. When you go to her website, you will see this glorious picture of the shining light, who is one of the women that I hold most dear. She is an amazing channel of the Divine Feminine, of Mary Magdalene, of Mary, and of many other ascended masters and lady masters. She is also a spiritual teacher, founder of Somatic Awakening, and a doctor of naturopathy. Having said that, I experience her also as just a being of such love and such joyful compassion, very compassionate human being. And I want to say it is my honor to have you here, and I will pass this on to you now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Luminessa, for that amazing introduction. I so appreciate you as well. And all of the women that are here, I want to take the words of Aimée and Christy and to build upon this energy, this container that we are opening together here in terms of what the Divine Feminine is doing, all the different roles that she is playing. From my experience, from my embodied awakening experience, the Divine Feminine lives inside of us, lives inside of every single cell, every single atom. She is the form of the divine that is embodied in living beings. And so when we ask the question, what does the role of the Divine Feminine play? There's so many different things that we could say. There's so many different energies that we can pull in, that we can work with. And right now, we are, as a humanity and on this planet, astrologically, we just moved through an incredible portal of the solstice and eclipse, as well as 5 different planets in retrograde. And I know for myself and many, many people that I know, my friends, my beloveds, my patients, so many of us have been through a portal of initiation. So when I really sat down to ask the question, what needs to be said right now in our world? What's really going on? And what came through was this powerful energy of the fierce feminine, of the dark mother, of the one who says, it is time, children, to wake up. It's time to address all that you are holding inside. It's time to bring this light of awareness from your higher self, from the love that is the love that Divine Feminine is, and to bring it into all levels of programming, whether it be childhood programming, whether it be past life trauma, whether it be programming that happened over many, 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 many lifetimes. We are all being asked to step up, to really connect to our courage and our bravery, to allow our higher energy to actually turn toward what needs our love, what needs our compassion, what needs our presence and our stabilization. And when we do that, the mother also comes in with what I'll call the soft mother, the caring mother, the nurturing mother, the mother that is the holder of this love that is so big and so dynamic that there's no way to even communicate it in the English language. There's no word to really articulate how incredible, how deeply healing, how deeply nurturing that presence really is. And that love that never dies, that love that cannot be defined in the English language, that love has the power to bring healing into anything. No matter how deep, how dark, it has gone. I know for myself, Christy mentioned something about, the burning times and all of this. For myself, I'm a mystic, and for better or worse, I've had lots of memories in regard to what happened with these past lives, in regard to being burned and all these different things, these traumatic experiences. And in that process, what I found is that as I had the bravery and the courage to turn and turn and turn and turn and love and be with and presence and bring this divine feminine guidance in, that what would happen is that the contractions, the trauma would soften and soften and soften and soften. And the part of me that was afraid of actually standing up, that was afraid of actually stepping into my soul's purpose, which is as a teacher, started to dissolve. And I know for each one of you that are listening, that you have a soul's purpose. And we're being called out now to step into that soul's purpose. And the divine feminine has these two very, very important and powerful roles that we cannot put to the side. One is the fierce feminine that says, it's time. It's the one that actually sounds the gong, right? Whenever our life falls apart, or some relationship ends, or a job ends, or we get sick, whatever that is, that's that gong. Boom! We have to pay attention. It's time for us to step up. It's time for us to turn toward. Then as we have this ability to say, okay, it's time now to really turn toward and to be with and to presence, then to open to the soft, compassionate field of Divine Mother's love that never ends and has this healing power that actually allows us to be brave enough to step into our soul's purpose. And as we do that collectively, we actually release the programs of judgment or subjugation or internalized racism or whatever it is. And we start to realize, not just from our mind, but from a heart level, from a feeling level, from a knowing level, that we are one, that humanity is an organism. It's a unified organism. We are all together in this love. And the more of us that do this healing work on the multiple levels that we all are being asked to do, the more we can actually move from the thinking, I am in the ascension process, I am in healing process, thinking, and move into the feeling and the knowing and the grokking. We are one, we are here, and we are love. Blessed be.
So yet again, I want to invite us all to take a deep breath into our hearts and let that message resound within your bodies and your heart. Breathe it in and down through your body and into the earth as we release it and let that energy go. We just allow ourselves to really feel the presence of the love, the connection, and the resource of all the wisdom that we have so far have heard this morning. So I would like to introduce her, and this is a goddess, powerful priestess that I have known for many, many years. Celestine Starr is a powerful speaker, spiritual leader, oracle, and priestess of the Temple of Light and the Temple of Isis. She is also a sacred wisdom keeper and author of the latest book coming out that actually came out last year, The Galactic Earth Council. She is an amazing woman She's often called a Renaissance woman, and I have to agree with that. And it is my honor to have you here today.
Beautiful.
Celestine.
So welcome, and thank you for having me here. This is an amazing opportunity to share with you. I've done a lot of deep meditation into what I am to speak today. And I want to draw upon, first of all, the divine feminine of the past. These powerful women who have walked the earth and given us the opportunity to draw upon their strengths, their knowledge, their wisdom. So I want to just first to honor the different goddesses. I want to honor the Great Mother, the goddess Isis, Nephthys, Astarte, Diana, Tara, Quan She Yin, Aphrodite, Kali, Durga. These are the primary principles, the universal principles of goddessness, of divineness. They are of creation. So we can draw upon that and realize that through the years, through the thousands of years of surviving, they have held us through the darkest night, through the flood, through rebirthing. We literally rebirthed the planet through the feminine, the divine feminine. We have lived through catastrophes and traumas and difficulties of humanness. Their strength moves us forward. You can always drink from the well of the goddess, as you've heard, and she will replenish you, she will strengthen you, and guide you forward. Then we have those that have actually come into human form and have walked the earth and have left their mark upon this earth and in humanity. And we have Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, who appears to me. And I know Mother Mary as Isis. That was her last incarnation. Many of you may not know that, but she incarnated many times, and that was her last. And Mary Magdalene, they worked together as the priestesses of the dove. And so they have a direct effect upon my life, to the point that I was sent to Europe, where she appeared many, many times. Mother Mary appeared 75 times in France. And I believe some of the times were at the darkest hour of humanity, during the war times when everything was demolished and people were causing genocide upon other races. And it was extreme, even in the Mayan lands, where we had the Lady of Guadalupe in Mexico. So we have these women who walk upon the earth, the Queen of Sheba, Pocahontas, Queen Nefertiti, and the Pharaoh Hatshepsut. Imagine that. And now we draw upon the Queens of England. We have the First Lady, Michelle Obama. We have the Africa's Imperial Majesty, the Nubia of Sheba, the Empress of Africa. So there are women we can always look up to and always see how the dignity and the compassion that they carried throughout humanity, how they brought upon the laws, they changed the laws, and they made it the ability even for women to vote. Those women who stood up against the patriarch, you can draw from their strength in this time and realize that we shall carry on. And in this time where we are, we shall carry on. And we've come to a place where the wheel of time has turned. We are turning and we have a choice. We can either turn back towards the destructive, manipulative, illusionary living that we have come out of. And this is, I think, what Mellissa was talking about, to process. You can either walk down that path, continuing down the path that you are on today, if you are in a state of survival, uncomfortableness, things are very, very challenging. I think we're all in our chrysalis looking at what is it that we need to change in our lives. And we can either go down that path and continue, or we can change. We could make a turn. We could step forward onto a new path. And doing the inner work is about understanding what it is you need in order to move onto a path that is illumination, that is empowerment, that enables all the goodness to come into your life. So we ask, where do we get this information? Where do we get this guidance when we go internally? And I could say, you're going to call in that part of yourself that is divine, that part of yourself that is the creatrix. It's there. When I speak to people and I'm in doing healing work with people and I say, let's call in your divine, there's never a question. What is that? You seem to know that there's a presence of holiness, of awareness, of pureness, of expansiveness, of creation. You tap into the knowing, that part of you that knows everything about you, your primordial awareness. It's that part of you that knows no boundaries, no barriers. Nothing can hold it back, but it gives everything. And so we have our humanness that tends to want to get into trouble a lot and be confused. There's a drama going on in your human life, but the divine is connected to the higher principles of life. It knows the moral codes. It knows what it is to be in right human relationship with creation. So I want to just say a few words here into that. For me, the 4 pillars of divinity are love, truth, compassion, and balance. So when I look at the goddess or the divine feminine, I find her first. I find her in the beauty of life. I look into the garden, I look at the plants, the trees, the animals, looking into the eyes of your child. I look into the beauty of your home, how you set that in such a way. Because there where you find beauty, you find the divine, you find the goddess. So looking within, and then looking within, calling in the divineness of yourself, because where there is beauty, there is goddess. Where there is goddess, there is divinity. So what is within you that is beautiful? Is your heart golden? Do you only wish the best for everyone? Most women that I know have a golden heart. They're not out plotting and planning against the world. You're not out trying to destroy things, yet you have an inner desire to have things beautiful. And why can't people get along? That's that divinity. That's that divine goddess self that's calling forth. Why can't we nourish all the children of the world? Why cannot we have home? So let's take that divinity and now look at love. The divine feminine in love is deeply committed. It loves all of creation, no matter how large or small. She loves all colors and forms, and we're looking at that right now. She is a fierce protector of that which she loves. She is in love, the one that brings about conception, childbirth, and mothering of humanity. We are so powerful. We have the Amrita that drops within our body. It's a drop of cosmic intelligence that has the power to create life within us. Take that in. We have the red and the white fleur de lis, which is the feminine power to create. And whether you're creating children or creating ideas or creating home, it is within us through the love principle. So now we look at truth. What is truth in the divine wisdom? Truth stands strong. It must stand against the winds of time and the winds of change. It is ever holding to that place. And it calls for freedom for everyone to have self-expression. And we look at truth, which offers security. Women want to understand truth. They want you to be truthful, to be loyal. And so looking at that within you, how truthful are you? You know, that is a practice, to say your truth in every word, in every breath. Whether you mix it with a little compassion or love, so that that mother love, that tough love, can be taken like a little drop of honey, you know. Here, you clean it up, but yet there's a little softness, as Mellissa said. There's a softening that comes. So loyalty and trust and worthiness, right? We're all worthy. That is the truth. Speak truth to yourself when you go inward. Truth is the substance that binds relationships and holds them through the darkest night. Compassion, divine feminine compassionately heals all wounds and nurtures. There's a genius in that. And compassion is a higher quality of humanity. You carry it within you. You are born with it within you. Just as joyousness is another elevated consciousness, another level of the self. And so we're cracking open the world. The world's heart is cracking open after seeing the execution in public. Yes? Cracking open, and the compassion is pouring out. People are reorganizing themselves, making sure everybody's all right. We're seeing it with the pandemic. Everybody's taking care of each other, wanting the best. And this is what we're going to take forward. This is what the change is all about. Leaving behind the need to be militarily policed, but bringing forth just conscious awareness of being a human, compassionately living in the world. And finally, balance. Divine feminine in equality, as we rise, as we find our voice, as we speak up for our life, and going inwardly, what is out of balance within me? What do I need to step forward and ask for? What do I need? And I love the balance of the male and the female. It's no more one over the other, one dominating over the other, but recognizing that this new world is asking for balance between the male and the female. That your inner and your outer be balanced. When you look in the world, in your life, if you see something that is not happening, that is distorted mind frame, look within, because whatever's inside is manifested outside. So I give you these gem jewels and recognize that the frequencies have now shifted. You can look, if you're scientific, under the Schumann resonance, and you'll see it's no more 7.83, it's now 100 hertz. We have 110 hertz vibrating frequency upon your body. You're going to feel it. You're going to know it. It's going to shake loose everything you are not able to hold on to. It's not truth, love, compassion, and balance. Get ready. We're rocking and rolling. But it's okay, because we're all there for each other. Speak to someone. Go get processed. Go find a practitioner who's of high quality. Do your prayers. Do the inner work. And as you lift off, we are lifting off. We are awakening, ascending. The wheel is turning. And through balance, you can begin to envision a new world. Come join us. We are envisioning for you to have completeness in your life, happiness in your life. We're going to keep envisioning, while those who are unable to envision, they will envision the fear. This is our job as we sit here for you today to envision the joyousness and the outstanding way that we can be humans and create a new world. Thank you so much. Ashe.
So let us take a deep breath in through our hearts and down our bodies and into the earth as we allow that incredible message. An oracle she is of the divine goddess. And give her a moment and she goes. That was so powerful. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Luminessa.
So last but not least, no.
We can't wait.
I will share a little bit about myself as I open up my own introduction. Again, I'm Luminessa Enjara, and I am a priestess of the flame and the light of womanhood, a representative of the light of womanhood. And I am here to carry forth to the modern woman a new message of the new divine feminine regarding sexual empowerment. It's time for all women to begin to remember once again where their true power lies and how sacred this power is. I'm the founder of the New Feminine Mystique, a pathway for your sexual wholeness, and a priestess training called the Priestess of the Flame. And this lineage that I hold was given to me way back in 1985. And I had a mystical experiences of 5 Egyptian priestesses. And I had one priestess called Enjara, Priestess of the Flame. And she came to me in a vision while I was in a bath, which I often take, which I often have incredibly beautiful spiritual downloads. And while I had this experience, she told me that I was, in fact, I saw myself in a flame and in a candle dancing in my bathtub. I'm looking at this flame and I'm dancing, and I went, oh my God, that's me. And then she said, yes, I am Enjara, and you are me in this life. If you choose, I have a lineage, I have a message for you. So truly speaking, 2 days later, just synchronicity, I must say, I had an appointment with another woman who was an incredible channel of a spiritual teacher of mine. And I came to see her after 2 weeks or 2 months waiting to get an appointment. And I sat down before her ready for this channeling from this master. And then she says to me, do you know some priestesses? There's an Egyptian priestess here, and her name is Enjara, and she wants to talk to you. And I said, well, she did. Can't you talk to me privately? She said, no, I have to channel her. So she said to me, I am Priestess of the Flame Enjara, and I have a lineage to offer to you that is your lineage. And if you choose to accept, you will bring this to the modern woman. Now, she didn't tell me anything else. That was it. And I knew in my heart, I said yes. And immediately I was flooded with ecstatic bliss and such joy. I knew that I had said yes to my destiny. Now, we're going to fast forward. I feel that emotion now, so thank you very much. And we're going to fast forward 30 years later. Over the time, I have brought through many different things and aspects of this teaching. But today, because of the times in which we live, today is the right time. And I think you said it correctly. Mellissa was here, and she said that, you know, there's a time for everything. And today is the time for the new divine feminine, for women to step into their power, not only their fierce power, not only their nurturing, compassionate, but their sexual empowerment is so important. We have lived in a culture that is a male dominator culture. And as Christy so rightly said, the priestess path was repressed for hundreds of years. And 10,000 years ago, even 30,000 years ago, did you know that images of the vulva were all over cave walls? That this image of the divine fertility, of the power of woman's creatrixness, this aspect of her anatomy was everywhere. There are so many designs of what I call the yoni, or the vulva, that have been in archaeology that we have discovered since then. What we know is that this is an ancient symbol of woman's creative power, her ability to bring forth life, as well as her ability to nurture and to create form in world. So our sexual power is not just about how many orgasms we have. And all that's wonderful. It's not about whether we're a great lover, how many relationships we may have, or what we're like, or how we seduce somebody or we don't seduce, or whether we wear sexy clothes or we feel sexual. These are all wonderful things, and they're all part of being a woman and being sexually empowered. But the true message of our empowerment comes with really honoring the sacredness of our sexual energy in itself, that we honor the origin of this energy, Now, my lineage is 6,000 years old, and it comes from the temples of Inanna, and it comes from the very first archetype of all women called Lilith. Lilith is the first woman, and she really represented the wholeness of woman. She was the primal goddess. She was the fierce goddess. She was the compassionate lover, and she was the sexual healer. So we bring this archetype back. We want to renew her in our lives and call upon Lilith so that we can feel more integrated in all aspects of our sexual energy. Sexual empowerment is really about feeling that we can feel safe in our bodies as a woman. And in this culture, it hasn't been easy to feel safe. We don't feel safe because sexuality and women in general have been, we have been taught that the only way we can survive in this culture is through selling our sex, through selling our bodies in one way or another. It doesn't have to be directly as a prostitute might do it, but we may sell ourselves because we marry someone who provides for us. We have a history of hundreds of years of being considered property by men. Now, this was all founded many, many hundreds of years, even thousands of years ago, which I will not go into today because it's way too long a story. And I invite you sometime, if you care to actually learn some of the history around yourself as a woman, because it's so vitally important to know our roots, to know our heritage, as Celestine said, to really get to know the different archetypes of the goddess, to understand that we have a rich, powerful lineage as women, and we get to reclaim it once again at this time, especially young women, because I've noticed that the past 2 generations at least, or 2 decades, women that I now meet who are in their 30s have very little knowledge of this consciousness that I was brought up with, because I was raised and I came of age in the 70s when this movement and the goddess movement of the 80s came about. And I was fortunate. So now I invite you once again to step in to the divine feminine in her sexual empowerment and to take a look at what does that really mean for you. Now, I can share with you that sexual empowerment means that we really learn to love our bodies, that we really hold them sacred, that we know that our vulva and that our womb is a special sacred space, and that when we offer our bodies to another, that we really do so with reverence, that we know that we are of value, that we deserve to have pleasure, that we deserve to receive honoring, that we deserve to know that our sexuality is a gift, that we give it to ourselves and we can give it to others as we choose. And also as we walk in life, in your daily life, when you come to know yourself from this place, when you walk the steps of Inanna, when you walk the steps of Lilith, when you walk the steps of Aphrodite as the goddess of love and sensuality, or the sexual healer or tantrika, the sacred courtesan, when you walk and embody all of these archetypes within you, as each woman has, then what happens is that you walk in a place of such power that you emanate it. You come from, I am woman, hear me roar. There was an old song about that, and it actually is true. We, as women, must first learn this for ourselves. We must reclaim this knowledge, this wisdom, the sacredness of the body, the sacredness of our sexual energy, the healing power of our sexual energy and of our womb. Did you know that the original sexual healers were in the temples of Inanna? They were the first sexual healers, and they used this knowledge of sexual energy, the first tantrikas. They used this energy when there was conflict in their tribe. And they would go to the men and they would share their sexuality. They would call in the goddess. They would know that this was sacred. And healing comes through this energy, and all would be restored back in balance. So again, sexual energy helps us to restore things to balance. And women have a special, vital role because we hold the body of the goddess within ourselves. So I share with you this information today so that we can reclaim our wholeness once again. We can know that we can walk in safety, for as women hold this knowledge, as we reclaim our connection to this source, this vital energy within us as a sacred chalice, as we do this, then everyone else will get this message. You see, women must do this first, then men will get this message. When we honor ourselves, men will honor us. So I invite you today to take this message into your hearts, into your souls, into your bodies, and to allow yourself to feel it. And as we do so, we bring in the divine feminine in all of her many forms and all of her many aspects. And thank you so much. And I invite us to breathe that into our hearts and down our bodies and into the earth. And I want to thank everybody here. And I just want to take for a moment to see if there's anybody else here who would just like to share a very quick comment on anything that had been said, anything you want to add around how women can take more of the divine feminine into their life. Now, we said a lot already, so it's okay if we don't, but if there's anybody who wants to say a quick something, I'm going to invite them to do so at this time, and then we're going to close. Is there anybody else? Just if you do, you can just popcorn.
Just unmute yourself. You want to share?
Yeah.
I'll just jump in really quickly. I think the thing that I just want to share that it has been the most significant for me in connecting to the divine feminine, the divine mother, is to actually really find a practice, a place where you come back again and again and again. And that could be creating an altar and sitting in front of your altar, or meditating, or prayer, or going out in nature with the divine intention of connecting with divine feminine that way. But the primary thing is that the more that we turn toward her, the more she turns toward us, and the more we actually have these tangible, felt experiences. And when we do that, then we know that it's not just in our head. We can feel it in our body. It's imprinted. We have these experiences that are imprinted upon our heart and our being, and that we know that we are being held in the arms of the mother.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else would like to share real quickly? And if not, we'll just close.
No, I would like to share, because trying to formulate my thoughts, because so much richness and deepness was shared among all of these women. And in my work with women, and especially doing rituals in sacred space, what I find is there's so many women that are operating with such intense low self-esteem that they are just like, I mean, you know what is the number one fear? To be a public speaker? Well, to come forth and have a voice and bring your wisdom forward and to share your divine nature, to even recognize your divine nature and claim it in front of people. We have a lot of work to do, because the strength of the empowered woman who is not afraid to be herself, who's not afraid to join with other women, there is a very deep conditioning. A number of people have talked today about the whole idea of doing the inner work, like Celestine and Mellissa were talking about, just going into that wounded place in us and doing the work that needs to heal. And fortunately, we now have technology and healers that really understand how to heal this kind of trauma that exists in us. The conditioning that said that sisters should be competitive because you want to go get your man, because you're half until you find your man, and then you become whole once you marry him. And the men are not conditioned to do that with women, but we are really conditioned. So your sister becomes a competitor, and the competition between women, this this is, I think, our nemesis, you know, that we have to join. We have to become a larger voice. We have to become a more empowered presence that allows for and includes and accepts in a very forgiving and loving way all of us, so that we can bring that voice of truth. Or we're going to still see the same world. We're going to still see 17,000 babies a day dying of starvation. So we're canceling that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have a world that every child is fed. That we are going to raise up the vibration of care and compassion in the world. And it's got to become from us joining together, our gathering. In the Course of Love, it calls the forerunners of Mary. Who are the forerunners? Those are the ones that resonate with this kind of message. You are being called to come forward and join with us. And we all have offerings, wonderful offerings. You'll see on the video and YouTube that when we put it up, you'll see all the links to all the people's websites, so you can go and check out who and what they're doing. But every one of us is doing really profound and deep work. So
thank you. So I'd like to have Mellissa have a call in an ending or a closure for us as we leave this wonderful gathering.
So let us all take a moment and close our eyes, coming back to that breath that Aimée started us with, taking some nice deep breaths in and out. And as you breathe, just visualize that you are taking in this information in the way that is right for you, in alignment with your ease and grace and right and perfect timing, and really allowing those words and the energy behind those words to touch your being in just the right way, allowing them to settle into your heart and into your soul and spirit and in your somatic awareness. And as we breathe this energy in, we give incredible gratitude for this love, for the healing, for the power of the divine feminine that is awakening within every single woman and every single man. This power, again, that is beyond words, that holds the void, that holds this love that never ends, that never dies. And we now call it forward even more in our life, so that we can walk with this awareness, so this awareness can be awakened inside of us, so that we may be called forward even more to do what we came here to do and to be beacons of this love, so that we may know ourselves as a collective, a unified whole in our own individualized sovereign being, both and the divine feminine holds us in this and rejoices with us in this. And we now know collectively that it is so. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay.
It is done.
It is done. And as we do so, we say namaste and namaskar. Many blessings. May the goddess be with you as you walk your path.
Thank you.